Hello there. I have just finished playing round 6 here in Garesnica, and as you can see, I'm not in my room because I had to check out. So I'm just here in the hotel restaurant, hoping that nobody will disturb me while I am making the video. This time I was paired with another untitled player, another kid, who is stronger than his title suggests, as it usually is the case with kids. You know, they learn very fast, they play online, and then between tournaments they tend to increase their strength. So it was a tricky opponent, but I will remember this game from something else. It was one moment, it was so embarrassing. I made an illegal move. I didn't see the check, and well, after that I completely lost any confidence in myself, and it was very difficult for me psychologically to get this game over with. I will tell you more during the game analysis, but yeah, let's just leave it at that for the moment. So the game was opened by knight to f3, on which I usually respond with d5, g3, so some kind of maybe Catalan or something, knight to f6, normal developing move, bishop to g2, everything normal, e6, preparing to develop my dark square bishop, and now he played d4. And here I have one idea which I picked up, which is very interesting. Usually after d4, c4 is coming. So if you want to stop c4 and confuse your opponent a little bit with the move which is not often played, then very nice move is b5. So this b5 now doesn't allow c4. In fact, it kind of paralyzes the whole queen side. So it's not easy, especially if you see this the first time. You know how to respond to this move and how to find the correct plan. So I like this b5 very much. Maybe it looks a little bit awkward, but it's perfect fine move. He played a3 here, I guess stopping my bishop, or I'm not sure why. So yeah, of course, bishop b7. First thing I get to the bishop. He castled. I developed my bishop here on e7 just to be able to castle. He developed his bishop to f4, so everything normal so far. Now this square is a little bit, he has complete control over e5, so I played the knight to d7, just to add a little bit control over this square. He played the knight to c3, which I'm not sure it's a good idea to block the c pawn. So every time you play the queen pawn openings, you want to have your c pawn mobile. You can see that my c pawn is mobile, and now his c pawn is not mobile. So I don't like this move from him. He's of course attacking my pawn, so I have to defend it. I defend it with a6. I think this is fine. And here he played h3, not a very active move, but okay. I'm just continuing on my development, so I'm castling. And he played rook to e1. Probably wanted to play something along, this e4 or something. And but now it's my turn, and you can see that I have completed my development. All my pieces are out, and I have a nice, space advantage. So I just need to open position. I need to expand a little bit more, attack the center, and so forth. So the logical move is c5, just attacking the center. He responded with e3, protecting his pawn, and well, stopping some other ideas. For example, if he takes, I can take with the bishop, then this pawn is pinned, maybe I can come here with the knight and make some threats and so forth. So e3 stops all that. And now I wasn't sure what to play here, and I played a move which Engine doesn't like. Engine wants me to play knight to e4 immediately. I did play it later on, but for now, I just wanted to exploit his strange, position of the knight, and I wanted to kick the knight back. So I played b4. He took the pawn. I took the pawn. And now he has to move his knight either on the ring or back. So he just moved back. Okay, and now I played knight to e4. And he was not happy with this knight, so he played knight to d2 here. And here I was thinking about this bishop now. I mean, I was thinking about this bishop for several moves, but now it came to my special attention. So one of the reasons I did play knight to e4, was to be able to play f6 and trap this bishop, because this bishop doesn't have any squares except e5. E5 is the only square for the bishop if this bishop is to be attacked. So I was thinking, okay, I have to play f6, attacking, taking away the e5 square, and then attacking with the bishop if he doesn't see. If he sees my idea, he will just play this g4, and this will weaken his position. And this was, of course, wrong. I missed an opportunity to win a piece here. So I have to remind myself when I calculate variants, I should always try different move order. So in this tournament, I had several occasions in which I saw the motif, I saw the combination, I saw the idea, but then I played the wrong move order, or I calculated the wrong move order and gave up the idea too soon. So once you see a tactical idea, then and you see it doesn't work, try different move order. So this is something, of course, I know from theory, but now I really learned this in this tournament on my own mistakes. So yeah, my idea was f6 and then trapping the bishop. But of course, just a different move order would win the bishop immediately. So the correct move, move here will be g5, attacking the bishop, only available square for the bishop, and f6 wins the bishop. Simple as that. So just a different move order. But instead I started with f6, hoping that he will not, see, and then I will trap the bishop. But of course he did see it, so yeah, he just played here in between move. So knight takes e4. I had to take back, and now he played g4. So I don't have this threat anymore. So okay, now I have to come up with some other plan. I see that I have doubled pawns, so my idea was to try to undouble the pawns and maybe to strengthen this this pawn here, this center, because this bishop is now staring at my pawn, and this is not a good thing. So now this bishop, my light square bishop, is a bad bishop because it's staring at my own pawn, and his bishop, although it's currently closed, it's not a bad bishop because this bishop is doing something. It's making pressure on the center, on the my pawn. So this is a bad bishop, and this is not a bad bishop. So I wanted to. I was thinking that maybe one day I will transfer my bishop to this diagonal, and I need to secure this pawn. This was the idea. So this is why I played f5 here. He took the pawn, and now I took back. So now I no longer have double pawns, and this pawn is fine. I can now think about developing my bishop on the other diagonal. Here he played c3, and I played a move I regretted, and this move was a5. So protecting the pawn and also making space for my bishop. And as soon as I played a5, I was like, oh, he could play c4 here, and then he will have connected pass pawns, connected centered pass pawns. It's a horror to play. I had this once in the game, and it's really terrible. You have to engage all your pieces to stop these pawns from promoting. Just imagine this movie. This wasn't, he's controlling all these squares. Half of your half of your fourth rank. This is one thing. Second thing, he can just push the pawn here. I cannot stop him pushing the pawn, and then this pawn is here forever, and it's almost lost. I mean, engine says it's fine. Okay, I can play, but from the human perspective, it's almost lost. So I consider this to be a blunder, although the engine doesn't think it's a blunder. So I think correct move I should have. I'm not even sure. I mean, if I take, he takes again. He has a connected double pawns. So I'm not even sure what I should do here. Maybe something like knight to b5, stopping this, and then, when I look at it, I'm not so sure. The engine thinks bishop to d5 is an idea to stop the pawn from advancing, and then maybe knight to b6, Yeah, but this was not pleasant. Anyway, I played a5, and then he played queen to b3 with a check. But of course, when you play over the board, there is no red light here. So I didn't see this was a check. I was so focused on this scenario, and I was thinking, oh, now my bishop is unprotected. I cannot take the pawn because my bishop will fall. He can now, push this pawn. He can do all sorts of things now, and I was so focused, what to do here, and I didn't see this check. And I was thinking, and then I played knight to b6, trying to stop the advancement of the pawn. I mean, it doesn't stop it immediately, but maybe knight to b6, rook to c8, and so forth. This is what I was thinking. Also, I was thinking, for example, knight to b6 is a cute move because then I can play a4 myself, kicking the queen because this guy is protected, and then maybe maybe play the b3, and then maybe even win this pawn. If he's not careful, I can win this pawn. So I was thinking about something on this line. So this guy here is protected, of course. Okay, and what happened? So I played knight to b6, and the kid was like, and the kid immediately, paused the clock. I was like, what's going on? I didn't understand. And he was like, arbiter. He was calling the arbiter. And all the whole everybody turned around. What's happening? And now the arbiter is walking towards my board, and everybody's standing up. It's always an exciting thing when on the tournament when somebody calls the arbiter. This means that something interesting is happening. So everybody got up and they surrounded my board, looking what's going on. And I was like, oh, I was so embarrassed. And then the referee came, and then the kid was explaining to the referee and to the whole audience how I played this knight to b6, and it was a check, so it was the illegal move. So according to FIDE rules, when you play illegal move, you get strike one warning, and if you play illegal move again, so the second time, you are just losing the game. And the opponent gets extra 2 minutes on the clock. These are the rules. Okay. But the embarrassment was terrible, and even worse was my self-confidence. So I was thinking to myself, if I didn't see this check, what else can I miss on the board? So I was like, okay, great. I will now lose to 1100 player. And since this moment, my confidence sank completely. I was so afraid to make a move. So it's incredible. I never had this feeling over the board that I'm literally terrified to making the move, because every move I make could be another illegal move, and then I lose the game. And I was thinking to myself, if I made one illegal move, why not make another? So I was really, I was really terrified. Right. Okay. So yeah, okay, the referee gave him 2 minutes. He set the position back, and it was my turn, and I played king to h8. And I was sure that he will play now c4. And I would have a very, very difficult game. But luckily for me, he played c takes b4. And now I have a great position, but I'm still terrified. I'm afraid of making every move. So now I'm thinking, 10 minutes on each move. So of course, bishop takes. So now this pawn is protected. The bishop is very active. It's hitting the rook. It's controlling his side of the board and so forth. And now he didn't play this very well. So first he removed the rook here on f1, which is very passive. And now my next move is just, of course, bishop to a6, hitting the unprotected knight, which is also pinned to the rook. So he has to protect the knight, and he played queen to d1. And now I play queen to bishop to d3. So my idea was still to try to expand here. I was even entertaining the idea of something like this, g5, and now if he moves, I can here, and now I'm threatening this fork, and also the knight is pinned. But he can then take the pawn, and I could win, exchange, but he would have 2 pawns, so it didn't look so attractive. But this is why I play this bishop to d3. First of all, bishop is great here, also controlling b1. He cannot now, put the rook behind the pawn or something, and also it protects this pawn. So now this idea would work because this pawn is protected. Here he played f3, so he probably saw my idea. Like I said, he's 100, but he sees lots of things. He's stronger than he seems. So now he probably saw my idea, this idea. So he stopped it by playing f3. And now I wasn't sure what to do. The engine says knight b6, improving the knight, maybe coming with the knight closer. But okay, I was thinking this rook doesn't do anything. This pawn is protected enough. this is the open file, so the logical move was rook to c8. And here he blundered, so, and I won the exchange. So his blunder was here rook to c1, and now you can see what happens when I take the rook. He can either take with the queen, and then he's losing the knight, because the queen is protecting the knight, or he can take with the knight, and then lose the exchange. So I took, and you know, what is better, losing the exchange or losing the whole piece? Of course, losing the exchange is better. So he made the right choice, taking with the knight, and I just took the rook, and he took back with the king. Okay, I'm still terrified, I'm still afraid of making every move, so I'm still thinking like I'm taking 10 minutes for every move. But now the logical move is just knight to f6, and I play this move, so the knight is protecting the pawn, the knight can jump here, harass this bishop, attack e3 pawn, and so on. So this is very, very logical move. He now took the pawn, and of course I don't want to take with this pawn, I want to improve my piece, I don't want to have isolated pawn here, so I just played with the knight here. Although the engine thinks I should have taken with the pawn, but yeah, whatever, I'm happy with this move. And okay, now the potential problem is this pin, so I guess he played this king to g1 just to get away from the pin. Again, I was thinking forever here, and I played queen to h4, which is a very aggressive move. You can see that there are all kinds of threats. One threat is just queen to f2 with a check, and then winning this pawn maybe, or just exchange queens. So of course, when I'm up the exchange, I want to exchange pieces, especially queens, especially when I have low confidence. I think this is more important than the positional aspect. So my psychological state of mind, you know, I'm afraid of blunder. I'm afraid that I will make another illegal move and lose the game. So just because of my psychological state of mind, exchanging queens would be you know, a great thing to do. So I have several threats, and he does a good decision, because queen and the knight are very dangerous in the combination, and you can see many motifs here that you know, queen and the knight can material, deliver, checkmate, everything. So he makes a right decision, and he just removes the knight from the board. This is fine, and I took back, of course, and now pawn is hanging, so he's playing king to g2, protecting the pawn. And now again, I was thinking forever. I was thinking about this move, and you know, trying to mate him, but then I have a back rank weakness, and I'm terrified of having a back rank weakness. So the combination, I was thinking, you know, if rook f6, he can here play queen to c2, threatening checkmate, and now I give check, and he goes here, and I don't have any continuation, and I can not check here. I don't have anything, and the back rank mate is hanging, so yeah, I didn't play this for this reason. So instead, I played queen to e1, forcing I think almost forcing the exchange of queens, because I mean, what can he do? He has to protect the knight. So the only way, if he wants to avoid exchanging queens and protect the knight, he can play like queen c2, but then I have this check, and then he has to exchange queens. So he took the queen, I took back, and only now I started to feel a little bit, you know, easier, because okay, now I cannot blunder mate, back rank mate. I hope I will not make another illegal move. So now it's a little bit easier, but still I want to exchange pieces. I want to simplify this as much as possible. Here he played king to f1, attacking my piece, but I think he missed the idea here. Now I can win a pawn, because now his bishop is pinned. So I play the g5, attacking the bishop, and then I will win a pawn. So he took my bishop, I took his bishop, he took back, and I took with the rook. Okay, now there is rook against knight. It's the easiest endgame to win. But still you have to be careful, you know, knights are tricky pieces. They can fork. He has a passed pawn, so he can play for some tricks. So he played here knight to e2. I was thinking that maybe he will go after this pawn, which would be very interesting. So if he would went after this pawn, yeah, something like this, I would have to play here, and then he can attack this pawn again. But now maybe I can just play this, you know, and then if he takes, I can take. So it's not so dangerous, but it's interesting. Okay, he played knight to e2 here. Okay, protecting his pawn. I played rook to f3, hitting the pawn. and maybe preparing to go forward, and preparing to put my rook behind his fast pawn if it ever becomes dangerous. He played a knight to c3. He's now attacking my pawn and preparing d5, but he cannot actually take the pawn because there will be check and I will win the knight. So I just took the pawn. He cannot take this. So he played d5, and now it's very important, even though this endgame, I'm now pawn up and rook against knight, but still you need to be careful. There are always some tricks. So when your opponent has a passed pawn, you want to be inside of the square with the king. So the king can always, stop the pawn if need be. So king to g8 here immediately. He played d6. Okay, I want to stay in the square. So king to f7, and now he played this king to e2. The idea is that now he can take the pawn because I don't have this trick anymore. And okay, I let him take the pawn. I want another pawn instead. So rook to h2 check, king to e3. I took the pawn, and he took my pawn with the knight. Okay, and now I was thinking what would happen. So I mean, the logical move is just a king to e6. Stopping the promotion of the pawn, and also paralyzing the knight because the knight has to protect the pawn, and I have plenty of time to promote here. So I played king to e6. And I saw that he has this fork. He can now win this pawn for this pawn. But the problem is that his knight will be on the other end of the board, and there is no way. I need only 4 moves to promote, and there is no way that knight can come all the way in 4 moves. So yeah, he didn't play this check. I took the pawn. He took my pawn, and I just pushed my pawn. He played knight to f6, so his idea was to try to stop this pawn somehow with a tempo. So knight to e4 would come with check with a tempo, and then maybe he can come here and try to do something, try to win the pawn or make my life complicated. But here I just simply played rook to b4. If he wants to check me, I will just take, and his king is too far away to take the pawn. And this is what happened. So he played the knight to e4, check. I just took the knight, he took back, and now I just promoted. And these kids, they are instructed usually by their coaches and their club. They should always play to the end. So this is because when you have kids tournament with children, many of them doesn't know how to deliver mate with, for example, with rook and king or queen and king. Many games end up in stalemate or draw by repetition or draw by just 50 moves without delivering checkmate and so forth. And also it's good, for children. It's good that they have this discipline, to play through the end, to get a sense of these basic endgames and so forth. And so in this position, please don't judge me. I did something I never recommend anyone to do, but I was so terrified and still so embarrassed, and my self-confidence was so low that I didn't want to risk, the slightest chance of not winning this game. So I did something which is unforgivable. I promoted the rook here. So this was the move. I didn't want to promote the queen, because if I promote the queen, there is 0.5% chance that he will draw the game. So I promoted to the rook, and now the kid played. He was instructed to play to the end, and yeah, he played to the end. So it was like 15 more moves. He was just waiting for me to checkmate. Okay, he did make it a little bit easier, but okay. And here, I think it was in this position when I got up, because it was like move 55. And if you look at the score sheet has 60 moves. So after move 60, you have to take another score sheet and then, write everything, part 2 out of 2, and then continue writing the moves. So I was thinking, okay, he will now, try to avoid mate. And I got up. I went to the arbiter table and I took another pair of sheets, and I came back with another pair of sheets. And then the kid saw that it doesn't make much sense, and I guess he didn't want to write another sheet, so here he let me made him more quickly. So he went this king to a1, retreating voluntary, and then it was me. Okay, like I said, the game just ended. I'm waiting second round. The second round starts in 3.5 hours. I have lunch, and then I have second round. I don't have my hotel room. I checked out, so I will not have any chance to take a nap or something. I will probably just have to sit here in the hotel lobby, drinking coffee and waiting for the game. So yeah, wish me luck for the next round, and see you soon in round 7. Cheers.